Today we're going to be talking about all things in Wake Forest, North Carolina, what it's like to move here, live here, and what the feel is like, so stick around.
All right, so Wake Forest is located on the northeast side of the triangle, so it's directly northeast of Raleigh. It's really close to like the North Raleigh region. It's not as close to anywhere else in the triangle. So if you're looking at maybe working in Durham or Chapel Hill, Wake Forest probably is not for you. But if you're working in the Wake Forest area or the North Raleigh area, Wake Forest is a really good option. It's one of the older locations in the triangle as well. And it's got a restaurant that's like right beside us that was founded in 1916 called Shorty's. It's a little hot dog restaurant. So there's just like a lot of charm and a lot of character here.
Yeah, for sure. Pretty cool to say you have a 100-year-old restaurant downtown that's been here for that long. But Wake Forest is just such a cool spot. And like Zach mentioned, it is not super close to other parts of the triangle, but it does border Durham and it does border Raleigh. So it kind of sits in between. So it's going to kind of border the east side of Durham and then the north side of Raleigh, like Zach mentioned. It's going to be really easy to get into the north side of Raleigh. To get into Durham is about a 35-minute drive, and to get into
East Durham.
Yeah, to downtown Durham. It's 35 minutes from downtown to downtown, according to Google Maps.
With no traffic.
With no traffic if it's not commuting time. And then to downtown Wake Forest to downtown Raleigh is about 25 minutes.
Also with no traffic.
Yeah. So that kind of gives you some context to where it's located.
Yeah. One part of Wake Forest that makes it really attractive is how many amenities there are in the area.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's one part of the triangle where, you know, like everything, I call it basically a self-sufficient town. I mean, you have your Target, your Walmart, all the grocery stores you can imagine. You've got restaurants. This strip mall is a great example of a place that, I mean, it's continually growing and growing and growing, not just on the residential side, but also on the commercial side. You have parts of the triangle that are growing residentially and not necessarily commercially. Wake Forest is doing both. Yeah. And that just makes it really attractive.
Yeah, for sure. And like Zach mentioned, like this strip mall is brand new. Torchy's Tacos is right behind us. It just opened last week. Cava's opening. I think Torchy's is the only thing even open yet. So like everything in here is still kind of under construction. There's townhomes and condos going up right here. Wegmans is right across the street. And like Zach mentioned, you have all your grocery stores, but you have all the cool grocery stores that like the major cities in the triangle don't even like necessarily have. Like there's a Lidl, a Wegmans. I think there's an Aldi. There's you know, just everything. Harris Teeter, you know, your general stuff. But then they have all these like newer to the area kind of stores. So I feel like it's like a real hot spot for commercial development, like Zach mentioned, and also the residential as well. It's growing rapidly. Zach lived here before we got married, and so just driving through and just like, I don't know, 7 years time, it's like just crazy to see how much has come in this area. It's definitely just exploding.
Yeah, and even, I mean, I'm here, I feel like, on a weekly basis, and even on a weekly basis, I come here and it just feels like things are changing quickly, which, you know, there's pros and there's cons to that. Some significant cons, some significant pros, but in general, Wake Forest is just, when it comes to amenities, has everything that you would need.
For sure. So one of the things that I really love about Wake Forest is just the abundance of nature that is here. Even though it's developing rapidly in the area, they've still devoted a lot of space for parks and trail systems and
560 acres.
Yeah, that's
worth
a lot.
Of like open park space according to their website. So.
Yeah, and you have good access to like Falls Lake, you have reservoir access, the Falls of the Noose, like the river trail is not far, and so you just have so much access here if you are someone who likes to mountain bike or run or kayak. Like there's just a lot of space for you to do that without having to drive very far here in Wake Forest.
Absolutely, and the park facilities in general here are very nice. And so if open space, park space, trail access is important to you, Wake Forest definitely has a lot of that. So we're filming right now in Joyner Park, which is honestly one of the more beautiful parks, I think, in all of the Triangle. It's just a ton of open space. There's an amphitheater, there's a community center, there's a lot of trails. It connects to a greenway trail system. It's a really beautiful area, and I think it kind of sums up what Wake Forest has to offer when it comes to like open space.
Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy how much has just been added even at Joyner Park, because like Zach mentioned, like that community center, there's like basketball courts and gym facility in there, and they added a really nice playground. It's just really unique playground. The equipment's really cool, and then just so much access to like field space here to like play ultimate frisbee or just have a picnic with your family. Like so much room here.
Yeah, and if you like pecans, they have an enormous amount of pecan trees out here, so you can come out here and pick them when they fall. Honestly, it's the most pecan trees I've ever seen outside of my grandparents' house. And I mean, you just come out here and you pick them up off the ground. And if you know how expensive pecans are, you better come out here and pick them, because they are crazy. No, you can come out here in a basket and pick them up. And so I see it all the time. But anyway, just a random side note, if you like pecans, come to Joyner Park and pick them. So it's just, they're here.
Lots of space here. So like we mentioned, just a really enjoyable place for being outside. You're just so much nature around, and it's awesome.
So one of the parts of Wake Forest that makes it ideal is home prices. So if you're looking at the median home price in Wake Forest in the last 6 months, it was $572. Your dollar in general stretches significantly further in Wake Forest than compared to like a Cary or an Apex. And you roughly get the same thing, I think.
Yeah, as far as like the house itself. And to clarify, that is for single family home prices.
It is.
We did pull out townhomes and condos out of that.
Yeah, which would have obviously brought that number down even further. So.
Right. I just feel like it gives a little bit of a better realistic picture, because most people are looking for a single family home, so they don't want to tell you the price is going to be less than it is. But Wake Forest, you have plenty of options below that 570. There's a really large luxury estate home presence in Wake Forest. So if you are looking for like a luxury home on acreage, you're gonna find tons of them in Wake Forest. Like I feel like this is like the dominant area for that. But that's not all that's here. You still have a lot of like smaller subdivisions and things of that nature too.
Or just massive subdivisions. Like this one right here, we're in Heritage right now, which is one of our favorite neighborhoods, really in all the Triangle, but especially in Wake Forest. It's just a really beautiful area. It's wooded, there's a lot of character, and there's multiple sections of Heritage. Hazen Tree is another neighborhood that is one of our favorites. Price points are quite a bit higher, but it's just a really beautiful neighborhood as well.
Right, Heritage is beautiful. You have these like tree-lined streets. There's a lot of different sections, so parts of it look different than others, but there's a golf course here, and just shopping right around the corner. It's Publix, I believe, right? That opened around the corner. Not Wegmans, but Publix. Publix grocery store.
Yes, you're right.
There's a Chick-fil-A in that shopping center, and some Chick-fil-A is very important to me.
Always knows where the Chick-fil-A is.
And a lot of little restaurants and stuff right there. So as far as like being able, honestly, if you felt like it, it's probably a long walk depending on where you are in the neighborhood, but you could honestly walk there if you really wanted to. But there's stuff that's there. You could definitely walk to the golf course. The club there does have a restaurant, so that's kind of cool. It says open for lunch every day, and then dinner, I think, is just on the weekends, according to the sign that we just passed. Can't speak if it's any good, but maybe it's good. I like the idea of being able to walk somewhere, so it's kind of nice. But like Zach mentioned, I think when you look at Wake Forest as a whole, the feel of it is has kind of a similar feel to like Cary and Apex and some of those other suburbs of Wake County, but the price points are lower and puts it more of a similar price point to Raleigh. They're pretty comparable. So kind of the overall vibe of Wake Forest, I would say it's kind of like a nature lover's heaven, super family friendly, and kind of a good mixture of old and new. Yeah,
it is. I mean, we're on like the historic street, I guess, of where a lot of like the historic homes in Wake Forest are. And so you have streets like this with really old historic homes, and then you have neighborhoods that are just massive and continually expanding. And so, it's a good mixture of like the old and the new.
Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna do our today's round of He Said, She Said.
Yep.
Which is better, Raleigh or Wake Forest?
So if we're just talking general Raleigh and not a particular portion of Raleigh, I would say Wake Forest. I love Wake Forest. It just feels homey. I don't know any other way to describe it. That's probably the best way I can describe it. If we're talking North Raleigh versus Wake Forest, I would struggle a little more with that, but just general Raleigh, I would say Wake Forest.
Yeah, and I think same for me in our current season of life, having 3 little ones. I love Joyner Park. I like being close to like Target and stuff like that. It just feels like everything is really easy to get to and accessible, except for the rest of the Triangle. So that's where it's kind of hard. Like you mentioned, like in that regard, like in family life, I feel like Wake Forest would be awesome, but in work life, like it does feel like commuting to other parts of the triangle, like to get to Apex or something would take an eternity, which for our work would be really hard. So in that way, probably would have to choose Raleigh, preferably North Raleigh too for me, but I do really love Wake Forest. Zach actually lived here for several years before we got married. I think I mentioned that already in the beginning of the video, but we have a lot of memories here, and it's a really sweet place, and it's a great place to live.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm Zach. This is my beautiful wife, Cindy. If you are looking to buy or sell, we'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. We're a couple of real estate agents in the area. You can contact us with the information below, and you can also find us on Instagram.
Yep, you can follow along with us on Instagram at the Honeycutt Realtors or our website, honeycutteam.com, and we look forward to connecting with you.
Yeah, we will see y'all next time.